Hello, this is Ariadne Rainbird, and today I'm going to be talking about how to get started in witchcraft and magical practice for the very beginner. So the first things that you'll want to do is create a suitable working environment and work out some preliminary practices, some relaxation and meditation techniques, learning to control your mind. The space where you do any ritual or meditation work should be a quiet, comfortable place where you can remain undisturbed for the work's duration. The ideal is a permanent, consecrated temple space or sheltered natural space where you will not be disturbed. But for most people, this is not possible. For most people, the space is usually a bedroom or living room. If this is the case and a room is in general use, an atmosphere can be generated by setting up an altar with sacred items, such as statues, candles, pictures and incense, when the room is being used for ritual or spiritual practice. Ritual objects and implements can be kept in a specially consecrated box or chest, which can also be used as an altar, or simply in a drawer if you're not able to set up a permanent shrine. Many pagans, however, like to have a permanent shrine of some sort, however small. This can be as simple as a shelf with an image of deity and a candle and incense on it. If you're not able to set up a permanent shrine due to living with unsympathetic people who do not approve of your practices, then having items in a special box, chest or drawer, which you can set up when you need to, is the next best thing, and allows for discretion in your activities. You may wish to purify the space you'll be working in before use. The most common methods are by censing with incense or sprinkling salt water around the room. So, how to set up a shrine? And what is a shrine? Well, a shrine is a house for deity, as opposed to an altar, which is your working space. A shrine can be as simple or as elaborate as you like. It may be an image and a candle on a shelf, or may include various natural items that you've gathered, your own artwork and items you've made. Don't feel, however, that you have to have them all straight away or before you start practice. The difference between a shrine and an altar should also be noted here, as these are terms which people often confuse, largely because many pagans combine the two into one. Strictly speaking, however, a shrine is a house of the deity, where the image of the deity lives. It may include candles and other votive objects and flowers as offerings, and to keep the shrine fresh and attractive. Or it may be as simple as a framed picture of the deity. An altar, however, is your working space. It's where you would place your tools if you use them, such as a chalice or a goblet for communion and libations, wands and sacred knives, cords, etc., that you might use in ritual, a bowl or platter for liquid or food offerings, etc. A shrine is generally a permanent structure. For privacy, if in a shared space, you can buy small wall cabinets which have doors on them, which you can close when not using the shrine, or have a curtain in front of a shelf, or veil your image when not actively worshipping. An altar, on the other hand, can be any table or flat surface and can be permanent or something you turn into an altar for ritual by placing an altar cloth and ritual items on it. Basic items which you may wish to gather as you go are an altar cloth of some sort. This can be a plain white cloth or may be coloured, embroidered, etc. One or more candle holders, plus candles of various colours. You may wish to use scented candles, particularly if you're living in a shared environment with unsympathetic people, where it may be difficult to use incense. Scented candles may be tolerated more readily than incense by unsympathetic housemates or family. An incense holder of some sort. This may be a joss stick holder, a dish in which you can burn incense cones, or a censer thurible with charcoal blocks to burn powdered incense. Some incense sticks, cones or powdered incense and charcoal blocks. A small dish to hold water for purifying. Another small dish to hold salt. Scented oil for anointing. A platter or plate to place offerings. A chalice or cup for ritual, wine, juice, water, etc. An image or images of your chosen god and goddess. These can be framed pictures on the wall or shrine, small postcard-sized pictures pinned to the wall or propped up on the altar or shrine, or posters on the wall or small statues. If you are artistic, you can draw, paint or mould them yourself as an act of devotion and connection with deity. A basic combined shrine and altar consists of a flat surface which may be covered with a cloth, on which are a candle or pair of candles, an image of deity, a censer, and small dishes for salt and water. You may also wish to add other magical tools, such as the pentacle, a thami, and wand. Body posture. It is important to be relaxed but alert when practicing meditation, and finding a comfortable body posture where your spine is straight and which you can maintain for the duration of practice is important. The most common positions used are sitting cross-legged with your buttocks on a cushion and knees on the floor, with your back straight, chin tucked in, top of your head pointing up to the heavens and hands resting on your knees. Or lying down, face up with a cushion under your head, though there is a danger of falling asleep in this posture, so it's only recommended for practices where deep relaxation is required. Kneeling with your bottom resting on your feet, back and head straight, hands resting on your knees, or sitting in a chair with your back straight and feet flat on the ground. Sitting in an upright chair with your forearms and hands resting lightly along the upper legs is an easy and comfortable position to maintain, and this is known as the hero position. If kneeling with your buttocks on your feet, you can place a cushion under your bottom for extra comfort. Sitting cross-legged or in the lotus position, if you're able, is a very good meditation posture, and this has the added benefit of giving the feeling of being more in contact with the earth beneath us. However, few people are able to achieve this unless they are well practiced in yoga or very flexible. Clothing. Wear something that is loose and comfortable. You may eventually wish to have a special ritual robe, but this is not necessary, particularly in the early stages of practice. Initially, loose tracksuit bottoms and a t-shirt are fine, or even performing your rites and practices naked if the room temperature and privacy allows. A linen, cotton or woolen blanket may be wrapped around you whilst you're meditating, though it is best if this blanket becomes part of your ritual kit and is used only for spiritual and magical work. The morning self-blessing exercise that I will shortly give is best performed naked. You need to be relaxed to perform daily exercises and getting the full benefits, so here are a couple of simple practices which can aid relaxation. The exercises are worth doing even if you think you're relaxed, as we tend to hold a lot of tension in our bodies without even realising it. So 1, starting with your toes, tense the muscles. Hold them tensed as tight as you can, and then relax them and let go. Then move on to the muscles in your feet. Tense them, hold, then relax. Slowly work up your body in the same way, repeating this process of tensing and relaxing, working through your legs, lower body, upper body, fingers, hands, arms, shoulders, neck, face, and head. Lastly, tense up your whole body, attempting to tense up every muscle at the same time. Hold for a few seconds, then relax, breathing out and feeling all tension leaving your body. 2, regulate your breathing. Sitting in a meditative posture, breathe in to a count of 5. Hold the breath for a count of 5. And breathe out to a count of 5, silently counting in your head. Do this practice for a few minutes, and as you do so, you may become aware of the areas of tension in your body. Tense these areas more, feel the tension, and then relax them, letting the tension ease away. You may find that your mind starts to drift at times, and you lose count of your breath when you're doing the breathing, in which case just gently bring your mind back to focus on the counting of your breaths. You may also find it beneficial to visualise the air you inhale being either a pure white light or a vibrant gold, filling you with purifying, cleansing energy, and the air you exhale being dark and smoky, taking with it all the stress and tension you have in you from the day's events. As you do this, you will notice the air you exhale becomes less and less smoky, and that it loses all colour and becomes colourless. At this point, you should feel relaxed and comfortable. Now here is a basic beginner's daily practice, a morning self-blessing. This practice is particularly good if you have difficulties with self-esteem and body image. Stand before your shrine or simply in front of a mirror. Naked is best. Have a small dish of water or a small bottle of scented oil. Anoint your feet with the oil or water, saying, "Blessed are my feet that walk on the earth and have brought me to this path. May I walk tall and proud." Anoint your knees, saying, "Blessed are my knees which kneel to no one, for I am master of myself, but with which I kneel at the sacred altar in awe of the divine." Anoint the area above your genitals or the womb area, saying, "Blessed is my womb or phallus, the gateway of life and centre of my creative powers. May I find my true creativity." Next, anoint your heart centre, saying, "Blessed is my breast, formed in strength and beauty, wherein beats a strong heart. May I have true courage." And lastly, anoint your lips, saying, "Blessed are my lips, which will utter the sacred names, and with which I communicate to the world. May I speak words of wisdom and know the virtue of silence." You may also, if you wish, anoint other parts of the body as follows. Anoint your ears, saying, "Blessed are my ears through which I listen and learn. May I learn to discern truth from falsehood." Anoint your brow, saying, "Blessed is my brow, centre of thought. May my thoughts be pure and wise." Anoint your hands, saying, "Blessed are my hands through which I work in this world. May my actions make a difference to the world." End by saying, "May I be blessed in the sacred names of the goddess and god." And here you can add your own favourite names for the goddess and god, whatever names you know them by, whichever aspects of the goddess and god you feel more drawn to. Another daily practice can be performed in the evening. So every evening before you go to bed, perform a simple cross exercise such as the Kabbalistic cross, Egyptian cross or Greek cross. Choose one of these according to your interest and the pantheon or culture you feel more drawn to. The Kabbalistic cross is a preliminary practice which forms part of the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, the LBRP, a standard magical practice which is given in full in one of my later videos and in my book, and I shall go in Our Lady's name, and uses a number of Hebrew words and names of God. Some pagans don't like using the Hebrew names as they connect them with monotheism and Christianity. But it should be remembered that the Hebrews started out as pagans, like all cultures, and Kabbalah, a Jewish mystery tradition, preserves many pagan and magical elements, and is also influenced by ancient Greek, Pythagorean and Platonic philosophy. The Tetragrammaton, the Hebrew name of God, written Yod-He-Vav-He, inscribed into the Latin alphabet YHVH, and pronounced as Yod-He-Vav-He or as Yahweh, is composed of 4 sacred letters, each relating to a different aspect of deity. The 4 letters mean the Father, the Mother, the Son, and the Daughter, respectively, and thus represent a pantheon or family of gods in a unity. The 4 letters also symbolise the 4 elements, fire, water, air, and earth. Although the words intoned when performing the Kabbalistic cross may be reminiscent of the Lord's Prayer, they relate to spheres or sephira on the Tree of Life, a glyph which represents the descent of divinity into matter and is based on the Pythagorean tetrad and Platonic philosophies of the different realms and classes of gods. When Yeshua in the New Testament spoke the Lord's Prayer, he was invoking the sacred powers of creation and bringing those powers into himself as a magical act. When we realise the magical power of the words and concepts, we should not shy away from them. However, if you really do not feel comfortable with the Hebrew words, then you can try the Egyptian, Greek or English versions or experiment with creating your own practice. I do not personally feel that the alternatives work as well as the Hebrew, purely because they do not fit into the same system or worldview. Also, because the Hebrew words have been used by mystics and magicians for many years, they have built up a certain power of their own, which the other formulas do not have. In the appendix to my book, And I Shall Go in Our Lady's Name, I've given alternative practices to the LRBP, which can be used effectively. The runic circle, invoking the powers of the runes, and the Orphic circle invokes the ancient Greek gods. These I believe to be more appropriate and effective than simply substituting Norse or Greek god names in the LBRP formula. But you may have a different view, so try the different formulas for yourself and see what works for you. So the Kabbalistic cross is performed thus. Standing, face east. Visualise a ball of light in the heavens far above your head, the light streaming down. Reach up and touch the light with your right index finger and draw it down to your forehead and vibrate the word Ator, like this. Ator. Ator means thine is. Bring your fingers and the light down your breast and through to your solar plexus. Touch your solar plexus and vibrate the word Malkuth. Malkuth. Malkuth means the kingdom. Visualize the light going through your body and down to the floor and into the earth. You visualize the beam of light is extending right up to the heavens into infinity, down through your head, through your body, and down into the earth, into infinity. Next, touch your right shoulder, visualizing a beam of light coming from the central shaft of light, passing through that point and your right shoulder and out your right side into space, and vibrate the word Ve-Gebura. Ve-Gebura. Ve-Gebura means the power. Next, touch the left shoulder, visualizing a beam of light from the central shaft going out through your left shoulder and out into space, and vibrate Ve-Gedula. Ve-Gedula. Ve-Gedula means the glory. Then clasp your hands over your breast in a prayer gesture and vibrate Le-Olam. Le-Olam. Amen. So Le-Olam, Amen, means forever, so may it be. Keep the visualization of the white light such that you're standing in the center of a cross of light that reaches to the ends of the universe. The following variations are given in the middle pillar by Israel Regardie. The Egyptian cross. Face east, visualize the ball of light above your head and the light extending into the heavens, into infinity. Use the same visualizations as in the Kabbalistic cross given earlier. Reach up and touch the light with your right index finger and draw it down to your forehead and say, Entek Pau, which means thou art he who is. Touch your breast and say, Ta Sutanet, which means the kingdom. Touch your right shoulder and say, Ta Sakem, which means the divine power. Touch your left shoulder and say, Ta Jeser, which means the glory. Clasp your fingers over your breast and say, Tatoi en Ha, which means the world forever. Then say Nej Her, which means homage to thee. The Greek cross. Face east, visualize the light above your head, as in the earlier exercises. Use the same visualizations as in the Kabbalistic cross above. Reach up and touch the light with your right index finger and draw it down to your forehead and say, Su Estin, which means thine is. Touch your breast and say, He Basileia, which means the kingdom. Touch your right shoulder and say, Ke Hedinamis, which means the power. Touch your left shoulder and say, Ke Heidoxa, which means and the glory. Clasp your fingers over your breast and say, Eis tous aeonas ton aeon, which means to the aeon of aeons. Then say Yanito, which means so may it be. The General Goddess Cross in English. Stand facing east, visualise the light above your head. Visualise it descending from infinite space as you touch your forehead, saying, in the name of, and then give the name of your chosen goddess. Or just say the goddess. Bring the light down your body, touch your solar plexus, saying, yours is the earth. Touch your right shoulder, visualising the light extending out, saying, yours is divine power. Touch your left shoulder, visualising light extending out, saying, yours is divine glory. Bring your palms together and say, you are eternal. Fill me with your divine light and grace. So mote it be. If you're a Welsh speaker or other Celtic language speaker, such as Gaelic, feel free to add a Welsh or Gaelic version, replacing the intoned words with Welsh or Gaelic words. The Magical Diary. The magical or meditation diary can be a valuable part of spiritual development. It serves several functions, namely to encourage discipline by the writing of entries every day, to indicate progress, functioning as a monitor of the subtle changes one undergoes, which may not be registered at the time, but which become clear with hindsight, to check the effectiveness of spiritual practice or rituals performed by detailing rituals and writing results which occur and critically relating them to causes. This is valuable both when examining the self-transformative aspects of ritual and effectiveness of spells if you practice spellcraft. To be a private space for examining and questioning the self honestly without the influence of ego bias, as it does not have to be shared with anyone. Keep it locked away if necessary. The place where doubts and questions can be freely expressed and all the psyche shadows about come to light. To express creative insights as they occur in life, helping one to see the cycles that tend to occur and thus helping development by using them positively and directing energies appropriately. The diary may be a simple plain notebook or a page-a-day desk diary, or you may devise your own headings to record your experiences under, print out sheets with the headings on and keep them in a file. It would be a good idea to begin to record your meditation and ritual experiences straight away. If you're studying with a group or under a teacher or guide, your diary can also be used to give feedback on how you're getting on with the exercises given. You can also record your dreams in a magical diary, or you may prefer to have a separate dream diary, as it may make it easier to see themes and symbolism in dream sequences. The Book of Shadows or Personal Grimoire. The Book of Shadows in Wicca generally means the book which initiated witches are given after their first degree initiation to copy from, and contains many of the rituals, invocations and spells of the craft. However, it started as Gardner's personal grimoire and has undergone changes, and there are many versions of it around today. The book begins with the words, copy from it what you will. That is, each witch was expected to copy what was of use to them, whilst adding their own material as they progressed. Gardner wanted a special name for his ritual book and adopted the name of a Hindu divinatory manual which discussed telling fortunes by measuring shadows. It has now, however, become the standard name for a witch's personal spell book or grimoire. The Book of Shadows is not the same as the Magical Diary, although many beginners confuse the two. The Book of Shadows is your working book, containing the spells and rituals, whereas the Magical Diary records your thoughts, experiences, meditations and transformations, and is far more personal. You may wish to begin compiling your own Book of Shadows as you progress with magical work, writing out rituals, spells and magical techniques as you learn them. I hope you've enjoyed this beginner's guide to starting off in magic and witchcraft, and have learned something from it. And if you have enjoyed this video, please do like the video and subscribe to my channel. I will be posting much more on magic and witchcraft. And also please do check out my book, And I Shall Go in Our Lady's Name, which is a complete manual of progressive pagan witchcraft. Thank you for watching.